Good evening, everyone. You are watching Montgomery County Republican Club's direct line for February 16th, 2022. We are joined by honored guest Dr. Jenny Zeng. She's the candidate for House of Delegates in Maryland District 9A, Howard and Montgomery County. Welcome to the show, Jenny. Our host tonight is Jackie Saxton and Mark Uckler. Take it away, guys.
Hey, good after evening, Mark.
I was going to say that's always a heavily caffeinated Dwight Patel who.
This was on the tamer side from what we've seen the past couple of weeks.
Really very excited.
Yeah, but Jenny, thank you for joining us. I'm thrilled to have you here because I'm personally happy we have a lot more women running. And this is the first time we've met, so we'll start easy. And can you tell us a little bit about you and your background and also why you're running for office?
Oh, thank you, Jess. Thank you, Dwight, for inviting me, and thanks for this great opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Jenny Zeng from Ellicott City, and I'm running for State Delegate of District 9A. I came from China to this country 22 years ago for my PhD degree in Astrophysics and to start a new life. I'm a Christian, a mother of 2 boys, a software engineer, and a farmer at heart. Maryland is my home. As a longtime resident here and a citizen, I cherish the opportunities and freedom I have here to build a life that I can call my own. I also feel obligated to repay this community with my efforts to move it forward. I have been involved in local politics since 2017, fighting misguided policies and political indoctrination in school for 5 years, and I will not give up. We are losing Maryland. People are leaving their home. Our house and our children are in danger. Government expanded so much in the past few years to tell us how we live our lives. There are all kinds of programs in public health and education curricula that were created to direct how we live and take away our freedom of choice. I'm running to restore a sense of community that we have lost in the past few years, even longer. We have to bring back a more effective and a stronger dialogue between the community and local government to ensure a balanced governance in the future to save District 9A. Freedom is on the ballot. Join the fight. Vote for me to be your state delegate. Together, we will make Maryland safe and free. My campaign website is www.voteforzeng.com. Thanks for your voting and for your supporting. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think that's a great introduction to your candidacy. Now, you mentioned you live in Ellicott City. Have you lived in Howard County for a long time? How long have you been in Howard?
Yeah, I have been. I came in U.S. since 2000, and then I have been in Maryland since 2001, and then after 2008. I have been in Howard County, yes.
So you talked a lot in your introduction about part of your reasoning for wanting to run is that you're a mother and the indoctrination going on in schools. Can you talk a little bit about what you've noticed with your kids being in school and especially with the pandemic and the mask mandates and everything going on with that?
For my kids, actually, I started as a Chinese parents for the first 10 years in the U.S. I almost devoted in the church life, church service, church life, and I started to get involved in community politics since 2017. The first thing is the school start time. Yeah, at that time, school the school they want to rearrange students to start time, and for high school students, they think they start too early. Yeah, I totally agree because at that time I have a high school, I have one kids in high school and one in elementary school. I totally agree. And for high school students, the start time is really high. It's dark, and in the morning, and it's really dangerous. But they want to sacrifice the elementary school students and say, so for elementary school students, that doesn't matter. So since they are elementary school students, so I think that's not right. I think board should think about the better solution instead of sacrifice some minority who cannot speak out. So that's the first thing I started to involve the local issues, and then I started the first experience in local politics against the sanctuary bills in Howard County and in Howard School, in the state. Yes, and then as an immigrant, I support legal immigration, which I believe makes this country strong and great. And at the meantime, we must uphold the federal immigration laws and to make our the most concerns are the community safety. That's for our children. Yes, that's as a parents, that's the most concern for the safety. So that's why I went to Howard County court, and to Annapolis against this sanctuary bill. That's the community safety for our children. And then for I went to against the redistricting things. In 2019, I think that's in 2019. Yes, the board had the proposal to redistrict our children from our neighborhood school to another faraway school, and then I think that's not right. So
tell me, let's start with your sort of first experience. You mentioned that you took a position on the sanctuary. So you went to Annapolis. Tell us a little bit about what your experience was when you were, expressing your views there.
Yeah, we have Chinese community organized together. We protest. We stay there. We have our a T-shirt to protest. We have our signs against those illegal. Yes, we think law. Nothing can above the law. Yes.
So you talked about how your background is in astrophysics. How do you think that could help with your with any of the ideas that you have to bring to the House of Delegates? Anything science related that you could bring to the table that could help us move forward in the state of Maryland?
Yeah, as an astrophysics, I think the most things I think to analyze, to think thoroughly the problem to solve the problem. Yes.
So it's good. We talk a lot about following the science, and it's not as often that we actually have a scientist to be able to talk about what's the scientific method and what isn't, what is just opinion. So you certainly be able to bring that to that. Yeah. Yes. Now there was sanctuary legislation, as I recall, at the county level too. Involved in that, and kind of what was your experience with that?
On the county level, we went to testify, yes, and actually that's a good experience, and that's the first time I went to testify in the county court, and we have the long line, and then at that time the delegate Clarence Nan was there, and he said, he said something not good, and then I just said use the same word, talk to him, and said to him, and he said, "Oh, you are not in my district." That means he doesn't care. He didn't care about us since I'm not in his district. I think that's not right for legislature. Their decision affects the whole Maryland, whole state. Even I will be, if I'm win the campaign, I'm the delegate in District Line A, but my decision will affect the whole state. not just the district like A. Of course, we will have some local issue. Legislation will have involve some local issue, but basically, fundamentally, that's for the whole state. Instead, oh, you're not in my district. I don't care about you since I don't need your vote. That's not right.
Right. I mean, I've said that multiple times on this show, especially with us being in Montgomery County, where we don't have a lot of Republican representation here. Any Republican elected into the House of Delegates or into the state Senate is representing all of us. A majority is a majority, a veto-proof minority is a veto-proof minority. So I 100% agree. So you talk a lot about, it seems like safety really is your number one issue, whether it comes to the kids or the county as a whole, the state as a whole. Obviously across the country, we've seen huge spikes in crime. What has that been like in Howard County specifically? And what has your current elected representation been doing over there, if anything?
For Howard County, like just last Sunday, there are criminal report for the 2 gunshots. So that means the criminal report increase. Yes, as I heard from the long-time residents here, they said, oh, before they only have 1 serious criminal report for the whole year, but now there are at least about 4 serious criminal report every month. So we need to ensure our community and safety, school safety is a priority. Yes, all children should grow up and learn free from fear, discrimination, and violence. Yeah, we need to make sure secure our police fund. I strongly support Way Back Blue. Yes, and I support. School resource officers. I attended several meetings during our country meetings, and I said we needed to support our school resource officers because they are well trained. They have well bonded with our students, have good relationship with our students. They can quickly resolve the issues. Yes. That's why we need to support our school resource officers instead of remove them. That's bad.
Now, Howard County has had, for the last couple of years, has been the top performing school district. And so I can appreciate that the real concern about losing, safety is really a prerequisite, isn't it, to having a good education. If students don't feel safe or
yes,
they're in danger, that's gonna impact the schools.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, as in legislature, I think that's safety, school safety, and public safety is our top priority. Yes.
So kind of on the opposite age spectrum from schools and students, one of the big hot button topics that Governor Hogan has been talking about, and I think that we're seeing in our legislature as well, is the retirement taxes and how expensive it is, just the cost of living for the state of Maryland. Where do you stand on some of the taxation issues that have been going on in the legislature in the past couple of years?
Oh yes, that's in one of my mission statements. As is to reduce the tax for retired and veterans. They work so hard. They fight so hard for our country. We need to pay them, instead of letting them suffer after they retired and after they. Yes, we need to reduce their tax.
All right.
You talked a little bit about the district, and most of it, of course, is in Howard County. Under redistricting, you're getting, I think it's about 20%, or maybe not quite that much, will be up in northern Montgomery County.
Oh, my condolences.
It's a nice area. We've a number of very good Republicans who live up there, and it's an area where forgive me, Jenny, but when I've been up there and trying to find where I'm supposed to be, it's very sparsely populated, and it's, I'm in Frederick County, I'm in Howard County, and then I'm back in Montgomery County. It's really an area that has a lot in common with the rest of the district, doesn't it?
Yes, Actually, yes. If from the data, actually, some good news is that even in 2020, that Trump supporter is even higher than the number is even higher than the Biden supporter. Yes.
So shifting back to schools a little bit, and this is a little bit more of a national topic. I was actually watching a report on this right before we came on to the call here, is that we're seeing, unfortunately, and we have over the past couple of years, an increase in racist attacks and discrimination against the Asian population in particular. And there was a report talking about, I believe this was in San Francisco, how they are trying to take away merit-based admissions into schools. I believe these were high schools, because they're disproportionately favoring the Asian population, who their students have worked. I think if the school was like 70% Asian, because those students had worked incredibly hard to get there. Is that something that you've noticed in Maryland at all, or honestly, do you have any comment on that taking place at all? The fact that we're taking away merit-based admissions to schools, and that's basically disproportionately unfavorable to the Asian community, who works very hard on their education.
Yes, for Asian community, merit-based. Basically, we may pay a lot of our effort to children's education. Yes, actually, that's the future. Not only for our kids, that's the future of this country. Yes, the next generation is the future of our country, not just for our family. That's for our country. Education is so important. We cannot emphasize. We cannot say how much we emphasized on it.
Absolutely. And again, it's not just hurting one community, it's hurting all of our children.
Yes.
We should be encouraging them to work harder to get into these schools, not just saying, well, people who work hard get in, and that's not fair. That, to me, that just makes work hard.
Exactly. Yeah, we needed to return the excellence of education to our school, and empower our parents' voice, and yes.
Yeah,
it's an interesting, what Jackie's describing is really an ugly echo of something that occurred historically at the, leading elite, quote unquote, colleges of a number of generations, I guess 2 generations ago, of having quotas to restrict, to limit the number of Jewish students. And so the phenomenon now of doing the same to limit the number of Asian students that are otherwise qualified really just mirrors something that is a very ugly, was an ugly and continues to be a very ugly part of the whole college admission process.
And it's the same trope that's led to that as well, the same reasoning, right? Oh, Jewish students are working too hard to get in, right? And same with the Asian population, that they're trying to pull the same thing. Well, if you want your kid to get in, don't make it easier. Just push your kids harder to try.
Yeah, that's unfair. So we should encourage our education system to encourage the hardworking students. We need to encourage our government to encourage the hardworking people.
I'd say one of the big issues that is kind of ebbing and flowing in the Maryland legislature has to surround the legalization of marijuana. And I don't think that one necessarily falls on one particular side of the aisle. I've heard people on both sides for and against it. Where do you stand on that?
I against that marijuana things. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to say. Some people said, "Oh, since maybe we should think about the marijuana, so because there's so we can profit." Yes, but I think no, that's not God blessed. Yeah, it's dangerous for our children. Even that, I think years ago in our PTA PTA CHC meeting. Yes, as the PTA council for each and PTA council for our county, and each school have delegates, and we attended the meeting, and some people from Annapolis to promote their current commission. Now it's current blueprint. They said, oh, then I asked where to get those money, and said, oh, we can get the money from a casino, the tax from casino. I think that's ridiculous. Yes. We get the money from casino, and then encourage people to go to casino, and then use this money to educate our kids. I think that's the ridiculous cycle.
It's interesting because that doesn't cover even a small percentage of the total costs of the Kirwan recommendations. It just is a drop in the bucket, but something of a distraction, because they'll talk about that as a way of sort of not talking about the fact that what they want to do with Kirwan is largely underfunded. And one of the reasons that it's so underfunded too is because there's a cost that's paid for by the state, but there's also a cost that's paid for by the county, which in Howard County, Howard County locally pays the bulk of the education costs. And so the mandate from Kirwan ends up disproportionately falling in Howard County on local county taxpayers or tax.
Yeah, I think that's unfair to our local counties.
Right.
I asked the last time we had the meet and greet with Kelly Shores. I asked her how about this current commission. And he just said, "Oh, county, state cannot afford it. County cannot afford it."
Right.
Yeah.
So
what have you been doing so far to hit the campaign trail to start getting your name out there? Obviously, being on Direct Line is a great way to promote your campaign. But what else have you been doing?
Actually, I just filed, and before I come here, I just checked. I filed.
Oh, congratulations!
Oh no, not 2 weeks ago, February 5th. Right. Yes, and I started to. Then I have my website ready, so it's a voteforzeng.com. So I have my mission statement, my platform, my introduction, my donation page. Most important.
That is the most important. Now you also have a QR code, although the live thing is covering it up.
Only we can see the live thing, but yeah, the people watching online, there is a QR code.
Okay, that's good. All right.
Corner.
Oh yes.
We've moved up into the 21st century over here at Direct Line.
Why about the high tech?
Yeah, so anyone watching should be able to scan that QR code using their cell phone cameras, and it should take them directly to Jenny's website, where you can go and check out her campaign page, her statements, and of course, donate to her campaign. She's going to need some help. And you also have a kickoff event coming up, right?
Yes. Oh, actually, I have a kickoff. Yes, this Sunday evening at my house, and I invited Delegate Trent Kittleman, Delegate Reid Lavatney, Senator Gail Bates, and our County Council, David Youngman. Yeah.
Wow. A lot of big names.
Many other, great guests.
Yeah, and Reid is a friend of the show, so
yes.
Sure.
I also want to mention something like I haven't finished my redistributing things. I think I against busing our students. I also about the farming. I think Dwight mentioned some the farmer association. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. We have fewer farms in the central Maryland. I want to improve and advance the agriculture industry to save our farmland and the farming tradition. So if any people interested in this topic, please contact me and we can talk more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Farming is critical, especially now more than ever. With supply chain shortages, the more that we can farm and consume locally, the lot easier it's going to be. And with inflation and everything, local is definitely the way to go.
Yes, exactly.
So you're living in Ellicott City. Ellicott City over recent years has had some real challenges with flooding. Did that affect you? Did that affect some of your neighbors and friends?
In my neighbor, that is in older Ellicott City, yes. In older Ellicott City, yes, it is infected, but in our neighborhood, yeah, we don't. We're out of that.
Okay. Has there been obviously some redevelopment effort that the state's been involved with the rest of Ellicott City?
Yes, we may think about it. Yes, I will think about it.
Okay.
So you've been talking to a lot of the existing legislators in Howard County. You mentioned Delegate Novotny and Trent Kittleman. What have you guys been discussing? Any particular topics, any strategies that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think we should organize. We should unite it as a team to protect our district 9A, because this is only district we have our Republican delegates. Yes, we should protect our land. This is, we need to unite it together. Yeah, as a team to win this battle.
So
one of the big issues that I know the governor was focused on today was, now this was a bill that was in the Senate that was having hearing, but Justin Reedy, but also all of the Republicans have been promoting gun legislation that would make it a crime to steal a gun. And believe it or not, the Democrats have opposed that for a number of years for a variety of reasons. Let me just give you an opportunity to comment on that legislation that the governor supports.
I support. Yesterday, we just in our Republican Women's Club, we just had the wonderful meeting for the speaker is Barry. Who to talk about it. Yeah, to talk about the Second Amendment. Yes, we definitely should support the Second Amendment, support our gun right, but it should be under the proper control. Yes.
So on your website, you talk about restoring a sense of community in the post-COVID era. And I would say not even just in the post-COVID era, but in such a politically divided world that we're living in right now. What steps would you take to help promote that sense of community from and coming back and really kind of getting back to a place where we can all be civil with one another? It seems like we don't always have that anymore.
Yes, we need to, as you said, not only the sense of community. Yes, if even the sense of the political. Yeah, we need to restore our community and encourage our small businesses and encourage people's work together. Yeah.
So were there any other issues that you wanted to talk about for your campaign before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, for my for education, maybe we haven't focused on the education session. I think we need to focus, empower the parents' voice. So that's why we in our Howard County we have so many wonderful activists, and I'm not the only one. So I learned from them. I learned a lot from them, and fight to death, yes, for our freedom. Yes, we need to protect our children. We need to empower parents' voice, offer immediate leverage and options to parents, and support support the state laws to forbid critical race theory or other racial essentialism and radical gender ideology in public school curriculum. Yes.
Yeah, I know you've been actively involved with the Howard County Republican Women's Club and of course moms and particularly parents. I think as we saw in Virginia and we saw in San Francisco today, are really going to be the major voices in this year's elections, and we're going to see really the year of the parent.
Yes. I'm a mother, so I think
the moms in particular, the mama bears are coming out.
Yes, I need to stand out and fight for our children. Yeah.
All right. Well, so to all the parents out there who are watching, Jenny is your pro-parent, pro-children candidate. So if you're looking for somebody to support and you live in 9A, or if you don't live in 9A and you're looking for a candidate to get behind who's going to fight for your kids, definitely she's somebody to go and check out. Jenny, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I did notice too that the QR code is covered up with the live. We've got a notice on that. So could you just kind of recap what it's there, your URL, which is www.vote, V-O-T-E, 4, the number 4, Zeng, ZENG.com.
Yep, and you have your kickoff coming up this Sunday at your house. The information on that is on your website. We'll be sharing that out as well on our page. So everybody out there, if you're in Ellicott City or if you're in Howard County or you live near Howard County and you want to go and check that out,
or you're in Montgomery County, up in those precincts that are in 9.
Yeah,
very welcome.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jenny, thank you for joining us. Mark, as always, thank you for co-hosting. Sure. And everybody, we will see you next Wednesday for another guest and another show. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.